welcome back to yet another episode of the GIIS podcast, the Smartcast. Today we are honored to have with us Visshal Natarajan, who has been a part of the GIIS family from 2014 and is one of our 12th grade CBSE toppers with a remarkable score of 97.8%. This is not the first time he has made our school proud, as Visshal was also one of the toppers in 2018, with a truly commendable score of 97.2%. He is not only an academic marvel, but has also received numerous accolades for oratorical competitions and debates, and is also a recipient of the GIIS scholarship. With that being said, welcome Visshal. It is a pleasure to have you on the show.
Yeah, it's an honor to be here.
Were these results what you were expecting, and what was your reaction to these fabulous scores?
So generally after school exams, I have expectations in my mind. I expect that this is the score I would get. But for board exams in particular, I keep my mind open. I really don't expect high marks, or I don't expect too low marks. I just keep no expectations at all, because the thing with board exams is it's very critical. So, the results are going to stick with you throughout your life. So you must, if you keep no expectations, that way if it's higher than what you expected, you'll be happy, but if it's lower, you'll be disappointed. So much better, I kept no expectations at all. But on receiving the results, it was a pleasant surprise, because one of the subjects, which was English, which I had secured 99 in, that was a total shocker to me. So I wasn't expecting that much, and it was really fantastic, because it's like kind of an adrenaline thing when you go there, when you go to the website, when you're looking for the results, and then suddenly the website doesn't load, and then it automatically pops up and you see your marks, and then you're hurriedly calculating, seeing which percentage you got. So it was very exciting, but then the buzz dies down after, like, let's say 2 to 3 days. Yeah.
I think that's something which we all must keep in mind when we all reach the 10th grade and 12th grade exams. And I'm pretty sure everyone must be wanting to know how you prepared for these exams. So please tell us your secrets to this achievement.
Okay, I can only speak for CBSE or but in general, maybe it can be applied to any other exams of sorts. So initially, we just follow the teachers. Whatever they teach, we learn, and whatever they give, we do. But then when you come towards our exams, happened in March time. So it happened in March, sorry. So what we did was December, the December holidays, that's when I started doing lots of papers. And so I think that's the trick. The more and more papers you do, the more easier it becomes. So on the day of the exam itself, you know what is expected of you, you know what to write on the paper, and you know how to present the paper. So typically, one of the things my family, what we did was the CBSE, the answer sheet they give us has a specific pattern. The lines are spaced by some specific distance. So we actually recreated how the paper is spaced, and we printed copies so that we have the actual scenario of how to write in the board exam. And we replicated the scenario in my home. So I think that's kind of useful. If you replicate the exact exam scenario with the exact same paper and the pen you're going to use on the board, you'd get a kind of prelude to what is actually going to happen, and you won't be so surprised when you're actually writing the paper. So yeah, that's kind of the thing for board exams. For normal school exams, it's just what the syllabus is, and you just prepare for it on a day-to-day basis.
Wow, practice definitely makes perfect, and you can see that in your marks. So who all do you think played an integral part in this success of yours, and what role did your parents and teachers play?
So I think it's like a collaborative effort. So first off, my parents, obviously, they played such an important role. Both my mom as well as my dad. So when sometimes my marks came low, and they encouraged me to do better. And especially my mom, who sat with me and who told me what my mistakes were. See, because my presentation was not up to the mark, not to the board standards, and she really helped me improve my presentation as well as my English for the board exams. But as important as the role the parents played, the teachers played an equally important role. who can I start with? It's for maths it was Sundarmurthy sir, whose teachings were really good. So I just followed him for maths, and results came. It was lower than what I had expected, but still it was still nevertheless a good results. And for chemistry we had Vasu sir, whose worksheets were fantabulous. And apart from maths and chemistry, we also had a physics teacher, Miss Anuradha ma'am, who cleared the concepts for us, who cleared all my concepts and all my doubts. And English, we had Shija ma'am. Shija ma'am was exceptional because she actually corrected our paper according to the board standard. So we got a kind of intimation as to how the board would correct our paper. And we also had our computer science teacher. We had actually two computer science teachers, and both of them were fantabulous. In actually, I picked up my interest in computer science because of these teachers. And apart from that, I've also had teachers across the years who have played a very important role in molding me and making me work hard, because I wasn't much of a hard worker earlier. But then, as you say, the teachers, the inputs they give you, the encouragements they give you, they all play a big role in the final result. It's not just the 1 year which determines your result. It's like an accumulation of all the years which you have studied.
Wow, I can't even imagine how immensely proud all of these people must be after seeing your marks. So, what do you think your strengths are, and what are your weaknesses, and how did you manage to overcome these weaknesses?
For any student, I think it's a blessing if they know what their strengths and weaknesses are, because if once you know what your strengths and weaknesses are, then it's just a matter of acting on it. And I was very lucky in that aspect, because the thing is, if you constantly keep on performing well, then you won't know what your weaknesses are. But in my case, my graph was like an up and down. So there were exams where I performed terribly, and those exams I think those exams are the exams I learned the most in, not the exams I performed well in, because I wouldn't give two hoots about what happened in the paper after I wrote it. But the ones I performed bad were the real ones where I actually learned a lot. And so through that I learned my strengths and weaknesses. So my strength, my specific strength would be that I work a lot. I work really hard, and that's what it takes. Actually, you don't need to be a genius to score 97 or 96. You don't need to be inherently smart or have great genes or something. You just need hard work. The more you work hard, the results will come for sure. So it's not any magic trick or something. Some people, they feel that everything comes, even I felt, some people who are smarter than me, I felt that, oh, these things come easy to them. They just get it without studying and have to work so hard. But then at the end of the day, they put their own hard work, which we are not aware of. So it's all boils down to hard work. But my specific weakness was, I think every student's nightmare is like procrastination. We think of one thing and then we want to push it back until the day never comes when we do it. So, but that way, the teachers were really helpful, because they threatened us with taking our PE away. So if we didn't do it, and not even if one person didn't do it in our class, the whole class's PE would go away. So even if not for myself, I had to do the work for the class. Otherwise, I would have probably gotten PE.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure all of us can relate to that.
Yeah.
It says that you were very active in oratorical competitions and debates. So how did you manage to not only find an excellent balance between these extracurricular activities and academics, but you also produced impeccable performances in both? How did you manage to do all of this?
I would, before I start off on this, there's also one more teacher I would like to thank, Lata ma'am, who's responsible for all these oratorical endeavors. Because if it weren't for her, I probably wouldn't have gotten this far in terms of debate or going to these oratorical competitions. So after thanking her, in terms of balance, my whole of 12th grade I actually spent studying, so I wasn't too much of balance. But in 10th grade I was more balanced, because what I did for balance was that I devoted certain time to studying, obviously, and then the other time in my school where the classes is where we learn. But apart from the classes, between the classes and all, that's when I went to attend all these oratorical competitions. But the thing about this is, it's just opportunities. So you will get opportunities at some very difficult times. When you're having a very hard exam, you'll get an opportunity to do an LLS or something like that. So you just think at that point in time, what is important? Is it the exam which is important, or the experience of the LLS which is important? And you prioritize your importance. For some, it might be the exam. For some, it might be the LLS. But I was lucky in a way that I got opportunities at the right time and at the right moment, because in 11th grade, where the exams weren't too strenuous, I had gotten an opportunity to play a role, the central role in the annual day. So that was the right time, right moment, opportunity. So I think I feel blessed in that way. And that actually contributed in my balance, because I was able to prioritize at that point in time. That's what felt interesting and exciting to me. And I did that. So I think
Still
the key to
seems
balance is like prioritizing what your important things is and what is not important to you.
seems like you must have had very hectic schedules. So how did you manage to deal with all of this stress? And were there ever times when you felt like giving up or put down by anything?
Uh, I don't know if this applies to everybody, but in my case, whenever I fall, because in nobody would believe it, but in chemistry, the first time I had written the semester one paper, my score was, I think, around less than 80%. It was bordering 80% in chemistry, and that was what, two exams before the main board exams. So that time I had really dropped in chemistry, and after that I had to pick myself up. But for me, when I drop, I pick myself up better. So whenever I drop, the exam in which I write afterwards, I drop, is probably one of my best performances. So I think in my case, whenever I hit like very low marks in my life, that's the point where I actually start preparing and I get a grasp of the scenario. So I would say all my moments of going down are actually probably the best moments in my life, and I'm thankful for that, because those were the moments where I actually learned what I had to do, and I did that and I implemented it. In terms of handling stress, friends, that's what they're for. If you don't have friends, then probably stress would eat you up. I had a wonderful set of friends, and it's probably on. We all help handle each other's stress. We're laughing it out and playing every day after evening. Because I used to almost play back in 10th grade. I used to play every day. So 6 to 7 o'clock, I used to just fix it for playing and play every day. So it's just that kind of thing where you hang out with friends. They help de-stress you a lot.
Yeah,
And
that's correct. Friends are very important in life. Um, what do you see yourself as in the future?
Uh, too far. I'm assuming that you're asking about my aspirations, and I'm aspiring to be an entrepreneur, but let's see what happens, because you never know what happens suddenly. Nobody predicted this coronavirus happening, so you never know what happens, but that's my aspiration, and I'm trying to work hard towards it. So maybe in the future, I see myself as a very successful entrepreneur.
Wow, that's definitely something. You're definitely someone who we can all take inspiration from. And that is why the last thing I would like to ask you on behalf of all of us here at GIIS is, what advice would you give students like us?
To all the students, probably the most important advice I would give is, everyone says that marks are important. Maybe 10th marks are important, 12th marks are important, but maybe 5 to 10 years down the line, they don't hold that much value, because when you're going to work, nobody's going to ask how much you scored in 10th or how much you scored in 12th. So they are important, but they're not very, very important. So what I'm trying to say is, every time in your life, when you're in school, you'll have something which is important to you. When you're in college, you'll have something which is important to you. When you're in work, you'll have something which is important to you. So at every stage of your life, every day of your life, in fact, you just have to identify what is important to you at that point in moment and work hard for it. So that would be the best thing, because for you, for example, for you or for someone else, marks might not be that important. For you, some maybe extracurricular activities or performing in sports might be important. So if that's important for you, just take that and work hard towards it. Every day, what your importance or your perspectives or your priorities change. Whatever your priority is, that for that day, you take it up and you work hard for it. That's the way to success. Because down the line, this which is important for me might not be important to someone else. So whatever your priority is, I think you just have to take that up and work hard for that priority.
Thank you so much, Vishal. All of us are truly in awe and are inspired by you. And a great thanks to all of you guys for listening to the GIIS podcast, the Smartcast. Don't forget to like, share, and comment below. And be sure to follow us on SoundCloud at GIIS Smartcast. If you have any suggestions for future podcasts, feel free to write to us. This is Sanjana signing off.